Hey guys, welcome back. So we're on chapter 4 of Mail Order Soulmate. So it is currently 4:56 and my fiance gets off work at 5:30, so I have enough time to read a little bit to you guys before he gets home. So let's jump right into this and get started. Sagan managed to coax Catherine into taking a walk. He hoped it would help ease the mutual feeling of being at loose ends. The conversation awkward as they danced around a day of democracy together. As well, Xavier had become more and more unsettled as the afternoon wore on, so Zach had bundled the new arrivals in his extra winter wear. The baby had quietened after a block or two, and now they walked in silence, other than the quiet crunch of snow beneath their feet on the sidewalk. Success. Well, except Logan had promised Catherine a job. Why? She is running from something, and for all they knew, she may have swindled money from her last boss. Plus, while having them both work from home would normally be ideal for a young family, it was maybe not so ideal for two people who had just met and had yet to determine if they enjoyed spending extended lengths of time together or any time at all. "Do you want to see about getting some winter clothes?" Zach asked Catherine. She was pushing the stroller, her tousled mass of blonde curls set off by the red and black plaid of the insulted jacket she borrowed. His big black mittens looked ridiculous on her slender hands, but seeing her dressed in his clothing made him feel warm inside. There are a few stores a couple of blocks over. Catherine blinked and inhaled. "You can pay me back later if that's an issue," he said, guessing the source of her hesitation. She'd been careful not to overstep and to keep a boundary between them. She was fiercely independent, and he was curious as to what had made her that way. It caused him to want to take care of her, to ease the burden of always being in charge, which was ridiculous because that would be the last thing a woman like her would ever want. "Or honestly," he said, lowering his tone so it sounded a bit more grave yet playful, "I should pay for it since I brought you all the way across the planet to this freezing mountain town." Catherine laughed as she shivered, hunching forward into his jacket. "You might owe me for that." A few flakes of snow fell from the clouds, flowing toward them. "We should have chosen Cyprus. But then we wouldn't have had this amazing winter wonderland. You lived along the coast?" He was fairly certain Cyprus got snow in the mountain regions. She gave a nod of agreement, then tipped her face to the sky while letting out a huff of joy as the flakes drifted into her pink cheeks. "This is incredible. You've seen snow before?" "Of course, but this is winter. Real winter. Technically, it's still only autumn. This winter will freeze you without a second thought." "That's rather grim." Zach shoved his hands deeper into his pockets, having forgotten his own gloves, while bundling up her and Xavier. "Sorry," she said, with resignation. "I'm like that sometimes. I have my moments as well. The world is too much with us." At the quote, Catherine's spine straightened and she looked at him with interest. "Bob Dylan?" he mused, trying to recall who he should abbreviate the line of poetry to. "No, Henry David." "Nope, that's not right either." "William Wordsworth." "Ah, yes. The satirical old booger. If he could only see us now. His criticism of materialism and modernism. Man, he must be turning over in his grave faster than a hot dog on one of those gratuitous things at the gas station." Which wasn't that fast now that Zach thought about it. He was trying too hard to impress her. "You like poetry?" she asked. He hesitated, struggling to come up with a line or two that wasn't tribute and overused, or a limerick he learned in the army that wasn't completely inappropriate to recite in front of a woman. "When she wanted to like you, at least." "I know a little of this," he said, casually, "a little of that." She quoted a line he didn't recognize. "Shakespeare?" She gave him a look loaded with disappointment. "Wrong. Not the old bard, then. I memorized enough poetry to keep the ladies happy, in other words, impressed. He found he needed his memory banks for more virtual information, like how to survive in enemy territory. Interesting, she said, sounding very proper and British as she teased him. A ladies' man? Not especially. I laughed. He squinted as though trying to see whatever it was he failed to process so he could describe it, claim it, fix it. Follow through? She asked in amusement. Man, he loved the way she spoke. I was preoccupied, maybe, with survival, keeping himself together, both in high school and later in life. If you're afraid, don't do it. If you're doing it, don't be afraid. Is that personal motto? Genius? I don't know how to say that name. I'm not sure I agree with the first part. I say do it even if you're afraid, otherwise you'll never do anything worthwhile. She nodded thoughtfully, her footsteps slowing as she peeked in on her bundled son to ensure he was protected from the flakes, which were growing fatter, causing an almost whiteout. Where did the remnants man grow up? That he can quote Wordsworth chain as a home security system that could reveal Fort Knox, and isn't a big fan of winter conditions since he thinks Cyprus is better than this. Florida? I've heard it's lovely. Philadelphia, he replied. I actually don't mind winter here in the mountains. The cold is worth it. Although sometimes it goes on too long, there are other things I like to do than shovel the walk every day. Zach nudged Catherine, pointing for her to turn right. The snow was falling harder now, but he knew from this short time in the mountains that the sudden flurry could be similar to a cloud burst, only with inches of fat flakes piling up instead of rain. The stroller was already having issues with its small wheels, the wet snow clamping as it collected on the sidewalk. Isn't the house the other way? Catherine asked. We're a block from Wally's Sporting Goods. Let this weather finish whatever it wants to, while we see what Jen can do to get you two geared up for a true mountain winter. Fur trimmer parka, Catherine asked, hopefully. Boots so big and warm you'll have trouble walking. She gave a shiver. That sounds wonderful. Maybe add some snowshoes and a Saint Bernard dog with a little barrel of brandy attached to its collar. That I can arrange. Catherine smiled up at him, happy and free, and he wondered if this is what real life looked like.